It may just sound like I'm wordplaying, but when you think about it, sometimes people say, man, life's just fucking me over, or life's just fucking me. I'm being fucked by life. I don't mean to swear like that, but I want to use this term, and actually, you have to watch what you say, okay? When you feel like you're being fucked by life, what happens when you fuck somebody? And you stay around, and you stick with it. Fucking is used to create something. Whether you have a baby or not, you're creating either a attraction, a disease, maybe a child. You know, like I said, if it's not a child, at least a connection with somebody. So you are creating something when you fuck. Okay, if you're just getting fucked, something's being created with you. But if you say fuck life and you switch it around and you say fuck life and you forget about it and you try to just disconnect from everybody and everything, what happens when you fuck somebody and you leave them? And then later on, you want to come back and say, oh, I want to be part of this. I want to be part of this. You get dropped off life. My own life did that. But see, I wanted to be with my kids, and I didn't want to be married or with the woman I was with because they weren't the ones for me. And really, think about this. Men feel like they have a hole missing. Women want to feel whole. It's a play on words, but it's true. Men are looking to get some, and eventually women are looking to get some too, because they want to have a kid, because they want to create. And if they're not making anything with their life out of their hobbies, or what their passions in life are, the next thing they go to is create. And if they don't do it, since they're not being creative, or they're overly creative, then they create, and you can have all kinds of kids. But then if they're over creative and they don't get a chance to have kids, they're all pent up. And some people don't feel like when you ask somebody, what do you do? And they don't really have anything to do. A lot of people who end up being like male whores or women that turn out to be whores, you know, that is just because that's the only thing that makes them feel good. And not just in a physical way, in a mental way. Because they want to create something. They want to feel useful. And if somebody's bored with their life, what is a fun thing? Once you actually enjoy it and like it and, you know, start doing it at a young age and you really like it, what else is there to do if nothing else seems to be any fun and everything is just so boring? Because, you know, sex can get boring, but if you're good at it, you can change it around. And there's so many things to do that it's fun, and we all know that. And I'm not trying to really talk about sex, because I don't have sex anymore. I haven't for almost 3 years now, and I'm not worried about it ever again. If it happens, it happens, but I just don't see it happening because it would be like masturbating. I'm everything around me. This is all a projection in my mind. Not saying that all those things, because if it's in my mind, which would be through the actions of my thoughts and with the vehicle of my body, then also everyone outside and around me is also a magnificent ball of energy that is projecting the same thing out of their mind. And we're so magical as one. The reason that we all see the same thing is because it's one. So we agree on what we see. So if I look over at something one time, and then I look away, and then I look over at the same time again, I'll see something better. Like when you watch a movie twice, you, the same person, you see more. So think about at the same time, you being all these people, how much more would you see? And if you don't think, okay, there's a sun in the sky burning, if you don't think there's an infinite being that can do some amazing magic shit, create a sun in the sky, then why do you think it's so hard to imagine me and you projecting the same visual representation when we know that we eat stuff from the ground and we eat stuff, well, everything we get is eventually either from the ground or from the sky and had to land somewhere so we could have it unless we breathe. That's the only way. That's the middle breathing. The top, okay, the middle eating and like, what do you call it? Nutrition, middle nutrition is breathing in and breathing out. The high nutrition, we would say, for our brain mind, for that thing, would be what we think about and what we do. Like what we allow other people to talk about, what we put ourselves around, because what we put ourselves around is the opposite of what we do by ourselves. Like we can make that and fine tune that so we do the same things. You want to at least have, I mean, you don't want to just go around your life hanging out with people that have no common interests with you just because, you know. So, and of course the bottom one is food. You go in through the mouth, down to the thing. The other one, you go out through the mouth and up to the brain, or from the brain and out the mouth. It's as above, so below, in every which way. So as I just said that, you think about what I said about the one I say, oh, I'm getting fucked over by life. Let it and stick with it. If you say fuck life and give up on it, it's like life, you just dumped life while it was pregnant with your idea, and you could have. But because you didn't want to give it your all and stick with it, it's going to have that idea in store, whatever it would have had for you in life. But when you come back for it, it's going to say you didn't want it then. And even if, whatever, you're going to struggle with it, maybe even get a restraining order on you. See, I'm trying to use this synonym in this pun because it's accurate. We all go through this. You don't want to give up on yourself. When you give up on yourself, it's not all that hard to get yourself back. But when the world is around you, which is you, and you give up on yourself, they have to. They might say, hey, go, 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 but they see you giving up on yourself, which is a simultaneous projection. So unless you in your mind know that that person you talk to or those things you do are going to make you feel better, don't go around them, because it's a simultaneous projection from the mind. Not your mind, not their mind, the mind. And at the same time, they're both being manipulated and contorted right in front of you every moment of every day. Like if I'm standing to the left of you and you're standing to the right of me, we both look up at the sun. But it's at a certain angle to you and a certain angle to me. But if I move where you were standing and you move where I was standing, it's going to be a certain angle to you and a certain angle to me. And it's still going to look different to you. But we're at the same time projecting it. And we're receiving it at the same time. That's not hard to understand. I feel the sun, you feel the sun. At the same time, something is happening from my body. If it was hot enough, you'd see that the opposite way is happening. Water is coming out of my skin because it's rising to the sun. Sweat. Obvious. So, once you understand what I'm talking about, there's weird things that you can do. If you have a certain aura, some people who don't sweat in the sun, that's because they have an aura that you can't see that they project. And that aura around them tints the sun a different shade so that their skin doesn't change. Same reason that people have auras that we don't see. Well, I see them. And people have auras, or beings have auras. And they're tanned by the sun according to where they live. At least at one point in time, what we call time. Our back ancestors, the hues of the sun through the sky. And through all the shades of, like, every plant gives off its hue, its scent, and we smell it. Well, the sun doesn't have a nose. The sun goes through the shades that the plants give off. And every location in the world has a different plant. Eyes sort of go along with the same context, but we know that the climates are different and the area is different and that just the terrain is different. So it projects different things from those beings too, from the plants, from the trees. So those hues that are in the air, they are in the air. And the sun distorts those things, which makes different things grow on the ground, which makes people think different thoughts, which makes skin appear different colors, which makes everything happen differently. Every vibration, the way you're rotating on the right side of a merry-go-round and the left side of a merry-go-round, and if the sound came from all spots at the same time, you'd always hear and it wouldn't sound different. But then, if that sound was of course not the only sound, because that's the one in your head, and that's the one in the other person's head, that's coming from the same spot. But if somebody was standing in front of you, and you were on the one side and they're on the other side, you'll hear it more in your right ear, and they'll hear it more in their left ear, and a little bit less on your left ear, and they'll hear a little bit less on their right ear, and that's the way it works. Exactly like that. And if I'm wrong, tell me I'm wrong. And if that's obvious to you, and you knew this, then what are you doing sitting around not helping other people simply understand how to wake up? Because the Word is God. And I am. So, until next time, I love you. Peace.